Hello everyone and welcome to Frontier Unlocked. I'm Arthur, one of the team here at Frontier, and I'll be your host for Frontier Unlocked going forwards as the wonderful Holly Bennett has moved on to pastures new. And while we miss her terribly, Holly, we still love you to bits and we wish you all the best for the very future. For the future, the very bright future, I'm sure. Right, but that's not to say we don't still have a feature-packed show for you coming up. But before I get into what's going to happen, I should probably say hello to a few people in chat. Now, I'll say hello, everyone. I do have chat on the screen on the right-hand side here. So I see a lot of 07s. I see a lot of Zookeepers. I see a lot of our Coaster family, our F1 family are in here. So hello to you all from all around the globe. Thank you very much for joining in. I will try. There's lots of people coming in here. One thing I do want to say, I did have a little chuckle. Someone said, Happy Rubber Nuke Day. For those that know, we are going to be talking about Powerplay a bit later on. Rubber Nuke, the day has come around. We are talking about Powerplay, and you have been a champion of it forever, so I'm glad you get your time in the sun. But there's loads to go through for the show, not just Elite Dangerous. And to talk us through it, our wonderful producer has made an asset. Adam, do you want to roll the asset? So coming up on today's show, we have, of course, we're going to talk about the Planet Zoo console edition, which launched yesterday. We'll also be talking about the Jurassic World Evolution 2 DLC that also dropped in March. Then after that, I sat down with Stu from the F1 Manager 24 team. If you missed it, you'll see it later on, obviously. We had the trailer went live about announcing its return. We'll be coming back this year with a much requested feature, and we chat a bit about that creator team mode in a brief VOD we have during the show. And then after that, of course, we are talking to the wonderful Luke from the Elite Dangerous team to talk about Powerplay 2.0. And Luke very kindly stepped in first thing this morning because we were going to have a Mr. Simon Brewer of Brewer Corp fame was going to be on the show to talk about Powerplay, but unfortunately Simon was a little bit ill. So I did ask in the interview later on, and I will ask for it now, a few 07s for Simon. We hope you get better, and we send you all the love to you from Frontier Towers. My chat has slowed down, chat. So just if you are chatting, I can't see all the messages coming, but it started again. So thank you. I can see all the love coming in for Simon, so that's great. Thank you so much. So not only do we have all those things to talk about, we actually, of course, we wouldn't be a Frontier Unlocked without a big pile of swag to give away. So for this show, of course, we've got more swag. We have got a fantastic Xbox Design Lab Elite controller in the Planet Zoo colours. So if you do want to win that, stay tuned and find out. It's all part of a big package. Of course, you can buy it. It's available for purchase in the Design Lab store. We also have a Planet Zoo press kit. Now, you may have seen some of these on socials. I think, Adam, you may actually have an image to show what's inside this. I was going to open this box up, but I'll fumble it and drop it, chat, and things will break, and I don't want to be responsible. I'll get told off. But in this, you get one of those big old cups that are very trendy. You get some cozy slippers, and you get a nice rug. Now, you know, it's my opinion, but, you know, the Planet series is some of the most cozy games you're ever going to play. So what better way to play it than in a pair of cozy slippers with a nice hot drink with your feet tucked under, or yourself under a rug. So that's in there. We also have this incredible mechanical keyboard in the F1 Manager colours. There's not many of those left, actually, so we're going to give one of those away to celebrate the announcement of F1 Manager 24. And then we actually have a goodie bag down there filled with bits and bobs. I think there's a water bottle, there's a vinyl. We've got a copy of Realms of Ruin for the platform of your choice, physical edition, be it PS5 or Xbox Series S or X. And we do have a cap for Planet Zoo, but it's not just any cap, it's signed. And we'll talk about who signed it later on, and that'll be going into the swag bag. So all this can be won for you. Just stay tuned and I'll tell you how you can do that a little bit later on during the show. But that's not all, chat. As always, if you are tuning in, we do have some drops live. Thank you, Adam, in the background for setting those up for us. And we do have, for Elite Dangerous players, we do have the Stinger drops. We have Stinger for the Python and the Cobra Stinger. And if you want to know about how to claim them, it's !drops in the chat. Neither one of those ships are the Chieftain, so therefore I don't care. I'm joking. They're all wonderful ships. And of course, I am finding a lot of love for the Python Mark II that will be coming to the game very, very soon. All right, so let's get into, let's start talking about our first item that was on our list, and that was the incredible Planet Zoo console edition, which launched yesterday, March 26th, for PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. And before I talk any more, let's watch the trailer one more time because it's super happy vibes. Enjoy. There we go. I did see in chat someone did say good vibes or happy vibes confirmed. It really is, and it's bringing a lot of joy from our development team here to see so many of you picking up the game yesterday and enjoying it, and already the incredible zoos that are being created. But it wasn't just obviously the game that went live yesterday. There was the first DLCs released alongside it, which was the North American and the Europe bundle that went live with the base game yesterday. And of course, if you have the Season Pass edition, then you'll be picking up immediately. But also in terms of Planet Zoo console news, you may have noticed that we did have a certain celebrity from the wildlife world, an expert, come into Frontier Towers to assist the team. I say assist, with the creation of Planet Zoo console. Let's have a little look at how that went down, shall we?
The team at Frontier has been working really hard to bring the ultimate zoo simulation, Planet Zoo, to console.
So, was it a smooth process, would you say?
Well...
Steve Bagshaw came in fairly early to the console edition development. He's obviously a renowned naturalist and wildlife broadcaster, and so he really knows his stuff.
This is way smaller than it would actually be in the wild.
I suppose he's been helpful to make sure we haven't forgotten anything.
I can't get this across enough. It is a tall animal.
There we go, and you can see the whole thing on our YouTube channel if you do want to check it out. Big shout out to Steve Bagshaw. He was loads of fun when he came into Frontier. It was lots of fun behind the scenes, on camera and off. A real pleasure to work with. But also but that's not all. That's not all. We have some news for those of you that picked up the console edition of Planet Zoo. We can now reveal that the next DLC bundle will be coming to the console, and it will be the Aquatic and the Twilight bundle, which is on screen now, and it's actually coming May the 28th. And it's a bumper edition. It includes 10 animals, such as the king penguin, or if you're Benedict Cumberbatch, the pingwang, and the raccoon. There are over 370 plus scenery pieces, one new career scenario and one new timed scenario. Obviously, as I just said, this is also part of the Season Pass, so anyone who has the Season Pass will get this content already with you. So that's a lot of content, a lot of zoo stuff hitting console straight away. So if there might be a lot of first-time zookeepers coming into the world. So if you are new to the world of creating a zoo, we have created for you a handy beginner's guide with some hints and tips about how to get started in creating your perfect zoo for all of those lovely and wonderful animals. If you want to find out how to do it, pop over to our website and have a look at the beginner's guide, or type in !guide, and that will take you through to our website, and you can have a look through some of those tips. It is worth doing. Some major time savers there for you going ahead. And as you may have noticed, I mentioned that the cap was special. It was actually signed by Mr. Steve Bagshaw, so you can't really see it on there. It looks like it's dirt. It's not dirt. It's a really nifty signature. Me and Adam, producer Adam, were discussing whether this was in fact a snake or a frog. Only Steve will know, but I'm going to go with snake. But it is signed, and that will be going in the swag bag as well. So, moving on from that, of course, it's not just that's the zoo stuff. So it is out. It's live to purchase now. I do recommend it. Obviously, it's such a chill game. They've done such a great job. So go and check it out. But that's not all. On March 20th, we brought you two new heroes to Realms of Ruin. The Craven King and the Gaunt Summoner went live in game. Let's check out that trailer.
The wildfires of change shall cleanse them. Infernal flames. Silver portal. Reinforcements from the Silver Tower. Witness his majesty and consider your fate. Bitter silence.
There we go. So it's two new heroes for the factions of Tzeentch and the Nighthaunt for you to pick up if you so choose. But just remember as well, it comes with some free DLC. So if you've not popped onto the game for a little while, there are some significant updates there. There's 4 new maps that are free, and there's some significant changes to the AI, allowing you to set your units into guard stances, which means they will hold their position and only move if attacked, or react to attacks as well. So have a look, and if you're not sure and wanting more detail, if you check our VOD from last month, I believe producer Adam, the wonderful Sandy Samarco was on and talked us through it in a bit more detail. Right, okay, so that's Realms of Ruin and Zoo covered off, and let's talk about Jurassic World Evolution 2. Been a busy month, March, chat, I'm not going to lie. I had hair at the start of it. But we also dropped the Secret Species pack, and it launched on the 13th of March, featuring 4 new dinosaurs returning and some new skins for them as well. Let's have a look at the trailer.
Experience a brave new frontier of scientific innovation with species once only dreamt of, now made a reality. The Ankylodocus, a hybrid of the great Diplodocus and the hardy Ankylosaurus. Rivaling the largest to ever exist, its gargantuan armor plating and large club tail make this gentle giant a thundering presence in any park. The Stegoceratops, a sturdy combination of the 3-horned Triceratops and the protective plates and spiked tail of the Stegosaurus. Despite their intimidating and vivid appearance, these herbivores have been observed to be docile and highly social creatures. The Spinoraptor, the speed, agility, and intelligence of the Velociraptor, genetically improved with the power and ferocity of the Spinosaurus. This apex predator hunts with sheer savagery, capable of bringing down even the largest of prey. In collaboration with our friends at Manticore, we're delighted to bring you the Spinoceratops. These shy and peaceful herbivores were adapted from Sinoceratops to thrive in frigid temperatures and flourish even in the harshest of winters. These radiant new additions to your park are sure to inspire awe at the wonders of science and humility at the power of discovery.
There we go. So that was the Secret Species pack, which is now out and available on all the platforms. If you want to add the Spinosaurus to all your dinosaur mix, apparently the Spinosaurus and was it Spinoraptor? I'm terrible with dinosaur names, chat. But yeah, it's all there and some cool skins to go with. So go check it out. It's available to buy right now. As I said, March was a very, very busy month for all of us here at Frontier Towers, and no less so because we were really proud to announce the return of F1 Manager for 2024. So F1 Manager 2024 was announced earlier in March, and it did feature a much requested item from our community, which is Creator Team. And we're going to talk to the wonderful Stu in a little bit about it, but let's run into that interview with that trailer. Enjoy.
Do you have the courage to compete? The ambition to create a team? The confidence to carve your own path?
Drivers are lined up, waiting the lights.
To push innovation and confront deeper challenges? Orchestrate your ascent?
Competition is on.
Steer mindsets? Design your own journey. Create a team. Create a legacy.
Wow, there we go. That was the brand new trailer for Formula One Manager 24. So thank you, Future Arthur, for showing that to me. Now, I'm sure you're all very, very excited to see what's going to be in the game. And so, in order to do a bit of a deep dive into what that trailer was all about, I'm joined by the wonderful Stu Warren. Stu, thank you for joining me on the sofa. Is this your first time in the new set?
I've snuck in here before, but it's the first time I've been on one of these with.
You snuck in without me being present? Outrageous, outrageous. Well, look, thank you so much for taking some time out of making the game to come talk to us today. For those who don't know who you are, can you give us a brief overview? What do you do at Frontier?
Yeah, I'm Stu Warren. I'm an executive producer for F1 Manager 2024. I suppose my job really is to try and connect the talent on the team who build the game to the vision of the game that our directors hold, and help them reach that goal.
So you're a busy man.
Busy man, yeah.
So, all right. So for those of you who have probably guessed already, this is pre-recorded because, as you've just stated, your schedule is very, very busy. So I'm so thank you for spending your lunchtime with us to do this segment. So it is appreciated. So we're going to talk about Create a Team in depth in a second. But for those of you that don't know about Formula One Manager 24, can you give us a brief overview about what players can expect?
Yeah. So obviously, we'll talk about Create a Team in a moment, where you can create, lead, manage your own F1 team. There's deeper management in F1 Manager 2024, so greater depth, immersion, new systems like mentality. We're bringing to the game to really bring it to life. And F1 races brought to life as well. Improved behaviours of the cars. We're introducing mechanical failures for the first time.
It's odd that you're introducing a failure as it's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
you wanted it, you wanted it, so now you're getting it.
And dynamic new cameras as well. So all that brings the races to life.
Yeah, I'm careful not to spoil too much, but I have seen the new camera and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
So Formula One Manager it's your one-stop. It's the dream of managing your own team,
yes,
right?
Exactly,
so from nuts and bolts all the way to the top, from managing the car, the driver, and all your factories and the bits in between, right? But as the trailer did show us, Create a Team is here, right? It's been requested a little bit.
It's one of the most requested community features. I think that's fair to say. And we've wanted to do it internally as well. The team are really excited and passionate about it as a feature. So yeah, delighted to bring it to the game this year.
All right, so we will be showing you some bits and bobs as we go along, as we talk through. But just overview, how does Create a Team work?
So it's an all new way to play F1 Manager. Essentially, you will be adding a 11th team to the grid. So we're not taking out a team and swapping you in. This is entirely new, 22 cars on track. Build your team, lead it, manage it to glory, hopefully.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's when you say it's, one of my points was why are we doing it, but I think you've covered it off. It's like every time when we look at the socials, one of the most requested features is to create their own team, right? I guess it's that legacy you're creating, right?
Yeah, so the community obviously, that they want it. We hear that. Our players, they love the agency of F1 Manager and being able to make impactful decisions that have a lasting impact. So kind of what more agency and impact to have than to creating your own team?
Yeah, no, indeed. So I guess when you look at a feature like Create a Team, what are the goals when you sort of from top level? Because I think it's, I can always say, just add this in, but there's always got to be like what you want players to achieve with this, right?
Yeah, our goals with this one are to give our players creative freedom. So we'll see a little bit of the creativity that can come from it today, and then obviously more to come later. We want to give them a platform to build their own stories, their own narratives. We've seen some of that in the community actually. I've seen people kind of writing up their backgrounds and histories of their
just to interrupt, this is what we're seeing on screen, right? These are deliveries you can create, right?
These have been made phenomenal with the tools by the team.
So this is what players can make?
Yes.
Right, okay. I mean, so this is a sort of level of depth and customization we can go into. Now, full spoilers here, chat. We are not going to show you the tool. We're saving that for another unlock. I know, but this will look at that. It's phenomenal. So this is what players will be able to create, right, for their own team?
Yep, they'll be able to create their own bespoke liveries for their car. Not just their car, I think we'll see in a moment as well. Racing suits, helmets,
Whole 9 yards, right? This is
build your team
phenomenal.
logo as well.
So, and when you talk about building a player's legacy, or players building a team's legacy, this is, like you said, this is the ultimate legacy, right? This is literally creating your team how you want it, and then seeing it through.
Yeah, that's it. When you start out, you'll be able to set the standard of your facilities. You'll be able to set the kind of starting performance of your car, set your budget, and obviously build your team as well. So you can choose from real drivers. You could put Max and Lewis together in your team if you want to go all out.
Feels like it'd be a good team if you had them
together. That feels like a maybe less of a challenge than maybe if you dip into F2 and F3 for your drivers and your staff. Or if you want to go full fantasy, you can use generated players and staff as well. So there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of freedom, and to kind of set your own challenge.
So I was going to say, so I guess for more experienced players who maybe have sampled the previous games, this is another way to make that a bit more challenging for you if you were going to take a team, create it from the ground up, bringing in either drivers from F2, F1, or as you said, totally new drivers to make the change a little bit more difficult for them.
There's so many different stories that can be told through how you set up your team.
All right, so I was looking through some of the liveries that are on screen there, and it's not just, obviously, there's designs there that they can create, but also logos and sponsors and how they work and how they go into the game. Can you talk a little bit more about sort of how these work and the placement of them? Are they in fixed locations? You can only put them in certain spots? Or?
So you'll get to negotiate with the sponsors when you get into the game, and we've created 50 fictional sponsors.
Right.
So you'll negotiate with them. Once you have struck a deal, then you've got freedom to place them on your car.
It's super detailed. I mean, sort of, I think you could tell by the liveries we showed earlier on, just like how detailed you can go with this, and scaling and rotation and stuff like that, and placement. I love watching players create stuff and see what they do with the tools that you guys provide.
I can't wait to see what gets made.
I think there's going to be some really interesting, some really cool designs that go in there. But you did mention, though, it's not just the cars, right?
No, that's right.
It's also the race suits and the helmets. So this is also a tool that you guys have created for players to do, right?
Yeah, race suits and helmets, and you'll have the freedom to create your team logo as well. And you're going to see this branding that you create. You're going to see that through the race weekend. Yeah, you'll see it in your garage. You'll see it in your pit gantry. So your colours, your designs. You can see.
So it's reflected in. It's not just that's super cool. And one of the things I also noticed, and we were talking about this before we went live, although it's pre-recorded. But we did rehearse it. Ignore me, we did. But you can actually change livery as well, like for one-off races. So you can have like McLaren do sometimes. They come to Silverstone, they have a one-off livery.
Yeah,
you can
that's
do this
right.
again.
Yeah, I mean we've got so Shanghai is on the calendar this year. So if you want to create a bespoke livery for Shanghai, you can do that. You can do that mid-season for one race, and if you wanted to, you could create your own bespoke livery for each race of the season.
Someone will do that. I promise you, someone will do that. Someone in chat is already planning this out. They're like, I've always wanted to do this, and this is what it's going to look like, and I'm going to spend 50 hours just making all the liveries that I need for every single race. So we talked a little bit. We talked about livery. We talked about the tool you can use to create. We've talked about why we want to do it.
Yep.
We touched on the sponsorship deals. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit more about the negotiation side of it and how that works?
So this mechanic will be in the main mode as well. So it's a whole new sponsorship mechanic throughout the game. But with Creative Team, you get to use these 50 fictional sponsors. So it really ties into that creative element as well. You will negotiate with your sponsors activities that your drivers may be undertaking, and they'll need to fulfil.
I'm conscious. I don't want to spoil too much, and I'm
off
screen chat. You can't see this. I've got people in marketing looking at me. Don't say it. Don't say it. And Alex has lowered his glass at me because I'm in trouble. So we'll move on slightly. But yeah, it's really cool to see this new element is added into the game.
There's more to come on that for sure.
Yeah, there's more to come, and obviously we'll show you more about the actual editor itself. And then lastly, I want to sort of talk about, because you did touch on it. It's creating your team is not just about creating the liveries and the suits and stuff. It's creating the whole team, and it also can set a more challenging difficulty for players. So it is about the drivers and your starting conditions. So are you excited to see how many players are you going to create your own team?
Massively, yeah. I mean, I've been through the loop many times, created a lot of teams already, but yeah, I'll save it for release to create my proper team, my dream team. I'm not sure yet if I'll go kind of all guns blazing and build the dream team. I think what I'll come in fresh, new, maybe pick from F2 and set myself a bit of a challenge to climb the ranks.
All right. Well, look, we've talked, and to be fair, we've talked quite a bit about just the create a team mode, and not all about the create a team mode. You touched on some of the key pillars. There's lots of tools that we'll have and we'll go through on future unlocks, and I've got notes here. We've got how you bring your racing brand to life. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all the other elements that we'll take deep diving into. That isn't just about the creative side of it, sort of more the management side of things, like how you're going to manage the mentality of your drivers. You mentioned the mechanical failures on the racetrack itself. There are new additions within the game, as in tracks themselves, new cameras. There's a lot of new stuff. We're just talking about create a team and not all of it here. So join us another unlocks. Will you come back?
Hopefully, I'd like to. We'll see how this goes down.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much for joining us. And I think in order to play us back, we should play the trailer again, Adam. So let's run it.
Do you have the courage to compete? The ambition to create a team? The confidence to carve your own path?
Drivers are lined up, waiting the lights.
To push innovation and confront deeper challenges? Orchestrate your ascent?
Competition is on.
Steer mindsets. Design your own journey. Create a team. Create a legacy.
There we go. So that was the incredibly shy and humble Stu Warren. What a wonderful man that is, for joined us over his lunch to talk about F1 Manager 24 and the creator team feature. It really is that slick chat. It was obviously, you saw in a lot of these things, we're kind of behind the scenes, there's a lot of work in progress stuff and not final, but even at this stage, those liveries look incredible. We have sort of teased you a little bit there because we're not showing you the tools we're using to create them. That's being kept for a separate sort of deeper dive later on, but trust me, they're really, really cool. I had a lot of fun watching Adam create some of that stuff, and he was doing it really quickly, and it looks really, really slick. So thanks again, Stu, for taking your time over lunch to come and talk to us. Really, 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 really happy to see the reactions to the people in chat about the creative team mode. And there's more, and then be back on the next unlock to talk more about F1 Manager 24 coming later this year. But that's not, if you want to get involved in creating your team, in creating a legacy, you can do that right now. You can create your own team sort of news pieces, because teams need PR, right? So if you're going to create a team, you can go over to the website and start this happening now, your own headline generator, ! Headline, and you can go into this, you can pop in your name and it'll start generating sort of news articles which you can share on your socials. And this has been put together by our team. So it's quite fun. So this is here, Arthur told me, is on the search for new key team members ahead of the 2024 season. So you can start that now. And it's quite a fun little thing if you want to do that, just to get involved. I saw a lot of people talking about creating their teams and their liveries, and I'm sure, as I said in that recording earlier on, I know for a fact there'll be players out there that will create a unique livery for each one of the races in the season. It really is a powerful tool, but it's not just about create a team. It's fantastic, and again, it's just to state, it is the 11th team on the grid. So really, really exciting to share more about F1 Manager 24 coming later this year. You can wishlist it right now. So please go across and do that if you're interested. Exciting. What else is exciting? Free stuff. All this stuff, we got to give it away, right? So as I said to you before, I'm now going to tell you how to enter this giveaway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a keyword to type into the chat, and it will pick, and our chat maestro, it's a bot, okay, I'm not going to lie. We'll pick one winner randomly shortly. This is a Frontier Twitch channel only competition, so I'm really sorry, YouTube. Actually, it's not us, it's them. I can't do anything on YouTube. I'm really sorry, it doesn't have the functionality, but it is on Twitch. So if you're on Twitch and watching this, geographical conditions or restrictions do apply. So please check our terms and conditions for the full details at frontier.co.uk/legal. This information will also be posted in the chat. If you are the lucky winner, please look out for a Twitch direct message from the official Frontier account, and then you'll be able to get your goodies out to you as soon as possible. Right. Now this word, nearly said it, chat. In order to win The word you need to add into chat, all one word and all lowercase, is exclamation mark race car. Exclamation mark race car. And then the bot will pick a winner at random. And you'll get all of this wonderful swag on its way to you. The press kit, the controller, the sign cap from Steve Backshall, the F1 Manager keyboard, and a goodie bag down there will be on its way to you as soon as possible. Exclamation mark race car to be in with a chance to win it. Right, back to, I think it's the last segment of the show. And we are going to be talking about, I know, chat, I know, it's Elite Dangerous time. Listen, I'm wearing my Elite, it's always close to my heart, is Elite. I probably knocked the microphone and Adam's shaking his head then. Don't do that, it's a rookie mistake. Sorry, get excited. Okay, we're going to have a little look at Powerplay 2.0. I do mention it in the chat, and I have said it at the start. We were going to have a bit of a longer conversation with the wonderful Simon Brewer, but unfortunately he was ill. So this is a little bit lighter, but we still got stuff to show you, chat, about Powerplay 2.0. And the wonderful Luke Betterton stepped in last minute, very early morning. This morning, I hadn't had time to do my hair, and we sat down and had a chat about Powerplay 2.0 coming later this year. And again, it's just a very light overview, but there's some cool stuff to have a look at. Enjoy this. Hello, Luke. Welcome to the show. Now, Luke, correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe in the years we've been working together, this is the first time we've probably done an interview together, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, which is weird, right?
It's very weird.
Yeah.
We've been working Elite since I've been here.
We're in meetings at least once a week.
Yes, and we've never done this. So this is weird. Anyways, Luke, thank you so much for coming onto the show. We're going to be talking about Powerplay. Now, full disclaimer for chat, we were going to have the very, very wonderful Simon Brewer, famous for Brewer Court, was going to come on, but he's not been very well. So you're going to stand in for Simon, do your very best. But if in the chat we can have some 07s for Simon, we will get him on and we will talk about some of the Powerplay stuff he's been working on. But don't despair, because Luke, you're a genius, right? So you're going to talk us through some of Powerplay.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But so Powerplay, for, I guess let's start at the top. General light touch overview for today's show. We have got some stuff to show you, by the way, chat. But for those that don't know, can you give us an idea of what Powerplay is, Luke?
So, well, yeah, I guess we're kind of talking in like two parts, right? Currently, Powerplay is essentially this sort of, big, sort of high level political competition between multiple different major powers, as they're called. Obviously, it's Powerplay. So these different powers try and own various different bits of territory because that creates, that's beneficial for their political impetus, whatever it is that they're trying to do. They all have their own characters, they all have their own political leanings. So that's essentially the version of Powerplay that we're continuing. The way that it's implemented in the game at the moment is, should be familiar to quite a lot of people, but it's essentially, lots of different actual combats over territory. You've got non-combat activities like trade and various other bits and pieces as well. And the Powerplay refresh that we're doing is essentially that, but like super polished and way more engaging. So, yeah.
So it's basically players get a chance to pledge their power, right? They do activities to expand that power's influence over the galaxy, and they get rewarded for it in a nutshell. But what we're doing for Powerplay Point, say we, still royal we, Luke, this is what you guys are doing.
Royal we. You're helping.
I'm doing my little bit. But what we're trying to do now is make this a little bit more accessible, way more polished for players, and allow them to sort of, I think the cool thing about what you're doing now is the visual representation of the player's influence on a power and its influence, therefore, on a system, right?
Yeah, it's exactly that. So, like, you've got, in the existing system, like it's very it's high level. There's a lot of menus. You generally you get a feeling for how your actions are affecting Powerplay when you look at Powerplay. But we don't feel like it's doing a good job of connecting to the universe. Whereas what should be happening is these powers are coming in and essentially just imposing their own sort of influence on the various different locations that they are then taking control over or competing for control over. And even in locations where they're not in control, obviously that should look and feel different. And that's kind of one of the main things we want to do with Powerplay is that as you move around the galaxy, you can see Powerplay happening. And that means that as you do stuff in Powerplay, you can make that happen yourself and you can direct those changes, or and thousands of other people can do it.
Yes, and that's the cool thing. And one of the things we're going to show now, so I think if our wonderful producer Adam can start rolling some of the footage, we're going to have a look at sort of the different states we can find systems in for Powerplay, right? And we're going to look at an Imperial station or stations in various different states. Then we're going to talk about the states as a light touch. As we're looking at it now, we're looking at the footage going through the 3 different states. So we've got exploited, fortified and stronghold, and we'll see these ticking through. But what you'll notice here, and I guess it's probably best, and this is where we were going to have the wonderful Simon, because he's done a lot of work here and a lot of
he'd do a fantastic job of explaining what's going on here. So I guess we'll like talking about exploited, right? Exploited is, some of these terms will be familiar to people who've played Powerplay before, but in this instance, essentially, a power has come in and said, like, we're here, we're doing stuff, right? We are going to, like, we're going to apply our influence here, and we don't really care too much about what you guys have already decided to do politically speaking, but we're going to impose our kind of influence over the top of that. So that means that you'll see things like, the locals won't be too happy about this potentially, because it's a very early stage of their kind of integration. So you'll see like graffiti, like I hate this person or whatever it is. You'll see, some light branding, like some of the banners will change very quickly, because that's the thing that the power can do very easily and very quickly. And then as things get a little bit more, as you progress from exploited and you start to increase the power's influence over the system, you show the locals that this is a good thing for you guys, actually. Like, you should enjoy this. You're into, like, this is a great thing for your economy. You will enjoy this. Some of the powers are a little bit more like that, which is, the kind of iron fist versus the
gentle touch. Yeah.
His like, improved sort of social experiences for you guys, his improved quality of life. Like, there's a lot of different character to each of the powers, and that kind of comes across in how you play. But it also comes across in how, like, how much you can see the influence of the power in the different states.
And we're seeing here then it goes from to fortified.
Exploited to fortified, yeah. So you start to see a little bit more branding. They've started to get some of those physical like things in there. They're really trying to make their presence more firmly known, and it's a little bit more permanent looking as well. Obviously, it isn't permanent. You can change this as a player, but it's harder to push things out of this state, and that's represented in the game as well. Yeah. So you can see at the top, we've got like, I'm pointing at the screen as everyone can see. You've got the banners, like the physical banners at the top with Ashling's with her logo on it. You can see like the big banners on the side as well. Obviously, you've got the electronic kind of holographic banners. You'll see adverts integrated as well. The vending machines will start to change as well. They'll get a little bit more Empire themed if it's an Empire.
And this is the thing as well. This is kind of like, I feel bad for not having Simon on. I'm glad you're here, by the way, Luke. I'm not saying it's an horrible way.
I'd like Simon to be here as well. It'd be great.
But I mean, it's stuff down to the contents of the vending machines is the detail you'll notice. This will change depending on sort of where these systems are sitting.
Like
I
can picture Simon's face now as he's talking about this stuff, getting super hyped about all of this, and just being like, I want to point out all of the cool stuff, and I'm not. I feel like I'm going to do a disservice to this.
No, you're not. You're doing a great job.
So let's talk about Stronghold briefly whilst that's still running. So the Stronghold stuff, like. Obviously, you got all those physical assets, you've got all of this stuff layered on, but now you're starting to see the full like impact of this power. Like as a stronghold state, like that is the top level of influence that a power can hold. And essentially everyone in the system is now convinced that it's pretty good to have this power here. And we're very supportive of that. And that comes across in all the physical locations as well. Yeah. So you can start to see, you've got like, there's a lot more physical branding. You've got like the stamps on the floor. You've got all the vending machines are probably like very firmly kind of Empire themed with occasional like normal stuff mixed in.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we've got, I mean, that's basically. Yeah. So we talked about 3 states, and there is another state which is contested. We'll save that for another show.
Yeah, contested is a fun one. Like obviously we're talking currently about like what happens when you've like actually gotten a hold of the system, but the really interesting stuff, which is I do want to talk about it, and I also kind of don't want to talk about it because I want to do it properly, but that's the fun stuff. That's where you've pushed a power like down to the point where they're almost holding on to this, and then you can get it into that tipping stage.
Yeah, so players can undermine this. So if you're pledged to one power and other players are pledged to another, obviously we all want to expand. Space is big, but obviously we all bump into each other at some point, and then there'll be a bit of a to-do, I think, is the posh way of putting it. All right, so we've had a look at some of the visual changes. We'll have a look there. The other thing I think we'll touch on really, really briefly, because it's still, and again, chat, we'll probably see in the top left-hand corner the footage. Please bear in mind that this is all very, very much work in progress footage. But we do want to kind of touch on very lightly the galaxy map. We've got a tiny bit of footage to show you here where you're going to make it a little bit clearer for players to work out just where powers are and how they're interacting with each other. And this is sort of all the way throughout what I think a big part of what Powerplay, the refresh is going to be, right? There's a lot of UI work going in here.
Yeah. So we like the big bubble type effect that you can see, but it looks good on paper. It doesn't look as good when you're actually like trying to make use of it and you're trying to look at the barrier between stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I think people are going to be picking over with this, because if you know how Powerplay 1 works, then the refresh, what we're kind of internally calling Powerplay 2, is like there's stuff that's revealed by this galaxy map stuff. I think that'll be really interesting for people.
Yeah,
but you can definitely visually see the territory, and also it means that if we were to zoom in, you get a lot more detail about who owns what state it's in, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, still a little bit of a work in progress. There's some stuff we still want to do here, but it's much clearer.
And to be clear, again, none of this is final. A lot of this stuff, and again, thank you so much to the team, because I know you're busy, and we were just coming in, just grabbing stuff, and we want to show this, we want to show that. So we're not going to zoom in, but I think what we're trying to get across here, and the thing about Powerplay 2.0 is what you guys have done, and what I've seen is it's a lot easier for players to take a look at the galaxy map, find a power, pledge to it, and then find a way to make meaningful change and see and track their effort, right? Which is another thing which we haven't got anything to show here, but just allowing players to see just how well they are doing in a chosen system, and then the visual changes that has. I think it's a far more it's a far more reflective system now in terms of player effort to reward.
That's a really big thing as well. I don't want to like undersell this. I think it's really important that we, like, one of the main things that we're aware of especially in Powerplay, is you don't know what's happening elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know what other players are doing. We want to change that. We want to really make that visible. So you know if people are pushing back against you. Even if they log on at a completely different time to you, you can tell. You can log on and go, oh my God, someone's pushing against us really hard here.
Yeah.
We want to push that back the other way. And you can see that, and you can feel the impact of players. And the other really nice thing about Powerplay is it's all player driven. So if something's moving, you can tell that it's a player doing it. You can tell that it's 100 players doing it. You could probably tell that it's thousands and thousands of players doing it. Like, it's that level of weight and the fact that it's coming from another person is really visible, which is super nice.
And I think that's another really cool thing about what you guys are doing with Elite. I mean, we do love our narratives. Obviously, we've really enjoyed what people have been doing with the Thargoids, but I think we get the biggest kick out of watching players create their own narratives, right, and watching them push powers out and do that sort of stuff. And it's really intriguing to watch us do it. And we even saw it in the Thargoid War, right, when players sort of galvanised amongst themselves and started to form their own sort of reactionary forces.
That's one of the coolest things about the Thargoid War. And it'd be really nice to, basically, what we'd like to do with Powerplay, refreshing the Powerplay like system, is to basically let you do that, but let other people be the thing that you're pushing against, and just have a great time with it.
It's the dream. I think we're close. I think what you guys are doing is really, really cool. And I think this is going to be really well received when players get their teeth into it. And we will do more on this at a later date to go into this, because it is simple in terms of like understanding it, but the mechanics can be complicated if you just don't know what you're looking at. And there's a lot of changes that we want to cover. Yeah. Speaking of other cool things, though, we talked about the stronghold state. You can get something else in a stronghold state, which is the stronghold carriers, right? I think we've got some credit to this.
Oh, no, we've revealed it.
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah. So, again, taking that thing of, like, we just want to make sure that the way that Powerplay operates, it's in the game. Like, it's happening in front of you. There's a physical representation of this. It's not just some words that we've put. These are the stronghold carriers. Like, we're talking about them from the perspective of a carrier. So there's obviously a carrier in here, but like, they are supported by quite a lot of other infrastructure. Mm-hmm. These are really cool because they act as essentially a hub for the people who are supporting this power. And it should be quite nice and clear, like, as you get up close to any of this, exactly which power it's part of, and you'll obviously see that as you move into the system as well. You get loads of warnings. You if you're not pledged, or if you are pledged, you'll get some welcome kind of sort of experiences. You get to a stronghold, and if you're pledged to that power, they will welcome you with open arms. If you are not pledged to that power, there's stuff you can do here that you can mess with the stronghold, and that's like brand new, super fun. Let's talk about that in more detail at some point.
We'll keep that for another show, but I just wanted to say, like, again, this is reflective in. I mean, we laugh about this, I think, behind closed doors, but Elite is so big. But obviously, reflecting these changes in a game that is as vast as Elite is quite difficult. But this is a really neat way of you enter into a system that's a stronghold system, and immediately you're like, oh, okay, this is a stronghold. There's a stronghold carry here. This is a sort of a major system for this power. And this is just some of the things you guys have been doing for Powerplay.
Yeah, there's a load more like little bits and pieces that we are rapidly glossing over, but some of that stuff will be stuff we'll probably end up not even being able to figure out how to show you, and you'll just bump into it in game. Some of the stuff is really cool though, and we really want to show you this stuff.
And again, this is we've got a few months yet before we get to summer, and obviously the scheduled release for Powerplay 2.0 or Powerplay refresh, whatever you want to call it. But it's really cool. I'm really excited to see it. Luke, thank you for stepping in at the last minute. I know it's you're so busy at the moment, and obviously we're calling you in from over the water. So it's been lovely to have you come in and discuss Powerplay. Have you enjoyed our first little? It's weird being our
first little thing. Yeah.
All right.
It's good. I'm really looking forward to showing off a bit more of Powerplay as well. Hopefully we get Simon on at some point. He can talk in a bit more detail about some of the visual stuff. But there's plenty more to talk about.
There's loads to talk about, and we'll go through it. But as much as it's been weird interviewing you as someone who is in meetings with me every day, it's been great having you on, Luke. And so thank you very, very, very much. And I'm sure, I'll see you in about an hour's time in a meeting. But for the rest of everybody else, I'll see you in a couple of months' time, Luke. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye-bye.
There we go. So thank you so much again, the wonderful Luke, for that brief overview. And again, thank you for stepping in literally last minute this morning because poor Simon was not very well and couldn't do the show. So chat, I hope you enjoyed a very, very brief look at Powerplay 2.0 and some of the features that are coming in there. I've been reading the chat. I understand there's people want to understand more about the mechanics, and it's notes I'll take away and help we'll go through on another show. We'll talk about the different states and how they affect how power can expand and how the different radius is based on those system states, be they, contested, exploited, fortified or stronghold states, and how powers use those then to take on or to progress into other systems and push forwards, and how players can undermine the activities they can do. We'll get a look at those carrier groups and and what you can do later on to see how what sort of gameplay you'll be experiencing around those as part of Powerplay. And we'll have a closer look at some point as well at some of the UI changes, so we can get a better understanding of all players, and certainly those involved in Powerplay. We'll have to look at that galaxy map, zoom in, and as Luke said, take a good look about what they're doing and how it's affecting pushing their power one way or another. And again, we'll go into details about how certain activities and how much percentage carries over if we meet a threshold and all that good stuff. It's a lot to go through, chat. It's a lot for me to process, but I'm reading the chat, I understand it, but I hope you can see where we're going. We're going to make it much clearer, much more accessible for players. We want to see you start creating these narratives in the game. Really excited to see it. And we'll hopefully get some more details about the stations and some of the visual changes you'll see. So it won't just be looking at Powerplay through a menu. You'll actually see those changes in the galaxy at large. Be it some graffiti in a station, perhaps it's a stronghold that looks all nice and tidy, even down to all the work they're going into to customizing the vending machines to reflect the power changes. And of course, I've seen people asking about the Python Mark II. It's coming. But we're not showing any more of it on today's show. But there's enough. We've shown enough of it, right? It's out there, right? So it's coming. So don't worry about that. So thanks again, Luke. The competition is now closed. That's us for the competition today. And we do have a winner. And thank you, producer Adam has popped it in my notes on the screen on the left-hand side there. And it is Alex Rexid. Alex Rexid. I'm going to say it's Alex Rexid, and that's it. That's your name forevermore, and you'll accept it because you've won a whole load of swag. The controller, the press kit, the keyboard, the sign cap, the swag bag, the copy of the game. That will be on its way to you. Make sure to check out for that official DM from Frontier Twitch. That kind of sums up our show. It's been a great show. We've had a really bumper March. I really hope you appreciate all the stuff we've gone through. All of my love to all the wonderful developers, producers, QA who've worked so hard this month to get this show going, because obviously, as you can tell, we've been very, very busy. So sorry there was so much pre-recorded, but we had to, because we had no time. We were too busy launching games and making games. We are going to be back, as always, last Wednesday of the month, and it's Wednesday the 24th of April, 1800 UK time. Now, I'm saying UK time because I can't do the maths and work out which countries are swapped over, because our clocks change next weekend and I just can't do it, chat. I'm so sorry. That's it from the show. I think I've done everything. You should all have your Twitch drops. We'll be back next month. I've had a blast chatting to you all. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. I'm retaining the kiss, chat. Mwah. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.